Welcome in to episode 70. Oh, crap. I forgot to look. I think it's 71, Steve. We're getting up there now. 71. Welcome to the show, Steve Brahney, the man from Brahney Asphalt. How are you today?
Good, man. How's it going?
It goes well. Busy, like I can feel it. We're recording this in April. I can feel the rise. I can feel the build. I mean, you've been doing this way longer than me. Is it the same for you? Like, do you feel like it's coming?
Yeah, in April. Yeah, I usually wake up when I go back to sleep. So I don't want to wait until until Memorial Day till things go back to normal, get my life back.
So you're a smart man because I'm going to ask you about this later, not now. I know you used to
Okay.
be involved in snow removal. So
Yes.
I
Yeah.
know you've probably returned a large measure of sleep, rest, and sanity to your life since you
Yes.
do that. Yeah. So I mean, I I I say this a lot. I still feel like I'm the new guy. Like I've only been in the pavement thing for 5, 6 years. Um, but I feel like you'd be a fool if you didn't know who you were, especially if you're on LinkedIn. Like, man, that I have followed your stuff since I got going in here, and I've resonated with it tremendously. I'm gonna ask you about LinkedIn and stuff, but I'm not gonna lie, when you filled out the little intake form for this show way back when, you're like, I hate talking about myself. That's the first thing you wrote.
Now I do remember filling it out. Yes, that would have been me
That was
exactly.
you. Well, I gotta know, man. Like, where did it all start? Like, why? Let's go back to let's go way back today, Steve. We're gonna keep it to 40 minutes today, but way back. Where were you born?
In New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, did you say where or when?
Yeah, where were you born? I mean, I
Oh,
presumed it was
sorry.
in the
I had to
same
turn my
area that
volume
you are
up on
now.
here.
So you
Um,
when I think of New Jersey, I think of Steve. So it's not a shock to me you're born in New Jersey. So
you don't think of The Sopranos?
I don't.
I
I
wouldn't
don't
say
think
that
of
on being recorded. You might have a problem. Somebody might be knocking on your door later on tonight.
born in New Jersey, and you're still there, right? You're still there.
Yes, yeah. I
Right.
left for a little while. I lived in Florida for about 2 years, back 2000, 2001, right before I started my business. The second time after I got out of college and everything. But yeah, no, I've been here my whole life. I lived in all three parts of the state. I lived in Central, which people say doesn't exist. The governor, even though he's a Democrat, I got to side with him on this. He did just confirm, and he does live by me in Central Jersey. So he had no choice. But yeah, Central Jersey, lived in Central Jersey, lived in North Jersey, and lived in South Jersey. So Central is by far my favorite.
Cool. Is that Chris Christie? Did I get it right?
No, Chris Christie's was before. This is Phil Murphy.
Oh yeah, he's Republican.
Yeah.
Never mind. See, they
Yeah.
teach us a little bit about
Yeah.
just a
Chris
little
is
bit
a
about
good
stuff.
dude. He lives in
Oh,
North Jersey, but yeah.
gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So Jersey's home, man. I get it. I totally get it. And like, I mean, I hear it in your voice and you talk about it a lot. So how did the payment thing come about? When did this get started?
I was very young, so 12 years old. So I watched them striping a road by my house. So I was about 12 years old, and we were going to the beach. And for whatever reason, it just got my attention. And I said something to my dad, and he's like, "Well, we were members of the Beacon Hill Country Club." He goes, Mr. Sargent owns like one of the largest because you've met him before and his son, he goes, he owns one of the largest highway striping companies in the country. So he took me over there to meet them one day. And we had another, ironically, as crazy as this is, another neighbor of ours that did line striping on the weekends. He worked for the state and did parking lot striping on the weekend. So I worked with him, help him out, and just kind of did it on my own. And then instead of like mowing lawns like everybody else did, then like a year or two later, I discovered seal coating. So I started seal coating and then just did all through high school, all through college. And then right out of college, because I did for about 2 years, I was doing a lot of road striping. So we were doing a lot of like thermoplastic long line, and we had a flood come through. We had Hurricane Irene come through in September of 1999, wiped out everything in our warehouse and our office. So all of our glass beads, all of our thermoplastic, everything was like at ground level in the warehouse, including all of our equipment and trucks and everything. And we had 6 feet of water come through our warehouse and office. So every truck we had, every piece of equipment we had. So insurance company literally covered nothing except for my BMW. And that was only because that wasn't on a company policy, it was on my own policy. So my BMW was the only thing they covered. So I was looking at we called MRL, which is, I'm sure you know, huge equipment manufacturer. So I was talking to MRL, trying to get pricing on new equipment, and I just said, listen, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, my partner and I have been arguing like crazy. This flood is just like the icing on the cake. I said, really, what I want to do? He goes, I said, I'm done with college in another 3 months or now. I said, I'd like to just move to Florida, get out of New Jersey. And he said, it's funny you say that. He goes, I don't know if you're serious or not, but he goes, there's a huge highway striping company down there. It's one of our customers. Goes, and they just got rolled up by this national company, which was called United Rentals Highway Technologies at the time. They've long been bankrupt. He said they're looking for a like an operations manager. So they say, if you're serious, I'll have this guy call you. So I said, no problem. And I'm driving up the New Jersey Turnpike, and this guy calls me on the phone, really cool guy, explains everything. Listen, we got all this money that we got now. We just got bought out by this company. We're literally running in the red. We need somebody young to come in here and run this. And I was like 25 at the time. So they flew me down there to meet him. I flew down, met him, looked over the entire operation, just like walking. Now, keep in mind, I've got like a thermoplastic truck, a paint truck, a paint striping set up like on a box truck or for parking lots, all stuff. They've got this huge location. It's got like five offices, five operations. And I'm going through looking at everything and just seeing the inefficiency. So here I come from this little tiny company, and I'm coming into this like $6 million a year company saying like, well, that's wrong. That's ass backwards. I don't know why you guys are doing it like this. So they offered me a ton of money to come down there and work for them, enough money where I could not say no at my age, and having, not being not being married or anything like that. I had family down there already. My dad lived down in Florida, my grandmother, a couple of my aunts, my brother was down there already. So I had family down there. So I figured, what the hell? So I got done with college in December, moved down there January, and I worked there for about a year and a half. They were literally running in the red for like months before I got there. And in like 90 days, I had them back in the black. I mean, we just like everything. I just came in there, cleared house with everything, and got everything fixed. And they started making a ton of money. And they said to me, the VP at the time, who's the VP of the entire operation, came down from Connecticut, and he's like, listen, he goes, I really like what you did here. He goes, we're going to move you up to Georgia now because we have another operation up there that's like that we just bought, and the company is like really dragging. So we're going to move you up there. We want you to turn that company around too. And I'm like, there's no way I'm moving to Georgia. Like, I live a block from the beach down here. Like,
Yeah, man.
I'm not moving up to Georgia. Like, there is no way. And now I'm not talking coastal Georgia like Savannah, talking, outskirts of Atlanta, like 3.5 hours to get to the beach. So the guy that hired me, who wound up being my boss, who I had a great relationship with, him and I worked together great. He got promoted to he got promoted to another location. They offered me a ton of money, and I just like, guys, it's not about the money. It's like, this is like, I want to stay where I'm at here. And they brought in another guy to replace my boss, and him and I were like oil and vinegar, man. This guy had no clue what he was doing. He had already been fired from every traffic control company in Florida. They picked him up, and they offered me the job, but I didn't want it. So they wanted to give me my boss's job. So they were like, if you don't want to go to Georgia, we at least want you to step into Frank's role. And I said, guys, listen, I'm a frontline guy. I'm not into sitting in an office all day, doing paperwork. And I'm a get out, see the guys, talk to them, see what's going on. So 1 minute I could be in my office doing a $300,000 bid for, Florida DOT for a bid letting to restripe every mile of Route 95, I-95. Another time I could be in the warehouse talking to the mechanic, figuring out a way to fabricate some new piece of equipment to save us time. And another time I could be out running a long line truck. Like, that was me. I'm not made to sit in an office 12 hours a day and answer to the corporate office. So they brought this other guy in, and him and I were like, see, the way my other boss, Frank, and I were great. Like, as long as things were getting done, that was it, man. You never heard from Frank. But this guy was such a screw up, and people were constantly on him. He was calling me nonstop, trying to figure out what was going on every 15 minutes of the day, because they're calling him and he has no idea what's going on. My other boss and I, we knew, we just worked together great. So I just got tired of the going back and forth, listening to him. So I just tendered my resignation, and I just thought to myself, I'm like, I'm just going to start a business, a seal coating business again. So I moved back here April of 2001 and started, and that's where it's at today.
Man.
So
Steve, are you
you didn't want the short version, did you?
no, no, I never want the short version. Give me the goods. Give me the straight goods.
Uh,
Are you okay, here's what I perceive now. Like you're a sales and marketing guy. That's what you do. That's who you are.
yes.
That's what you post content about. Are you
Yes.
like are you a secret closeted operations guy too? And the reason why I ask is I like straight up, I love business, man. I don't think I'd have the ability to walk into a business that's bleeding money and in the red for months and to go, I'm gonna turn this ship around. That's just not me. At least unless I could sell my way out of the problem. But like, are you a sales guy or an ops guy?
I can do it all. So I guess I'm kind of like I'm like a multi-tool player, like they would say, and like a five-tool player in baseball. So I can do everything. What I enjoy out of doing everything is the sales and marketing, the problem solving. I'm more of it took me 23 years of being in business before I read Gino Wickman's book on traction and the EOS system. Like I finally figured out as a visionary. Like I am not an integrator by any means. So I can come in and I can develop an entire marketing system. I can develop an entire company, whatever it is. I need somebody else then to take it. That's what I'm working on right now, is putting people into those places, because I have idea beyond idea beyond idea that would revolutionize everything, but
Hmm.
it's me trying to implement it. So
Yeah,
once
struggle's
I
real.
yeah, so once I get those people in place, I'll be pretty much dangerous at that point. But it's the idea is getting people to take over those different positions, because I could, like today, like I'm working on like five different things right now. This isn't even my office I work at. I'm in the warehouse right now because we had a project going on outside. But if you go to my other office where I work at, I've got like just, idea after idea after idea. I mean, Daniel Wright will tell you, like, he'll joke, he'll say, like, he'll have a problem, he'll say, just call Steve and just ask Steve. Don't even waste your time looking it up. Just call him. He'll figure out a way to, figure. So I've got, tons and tons of information, but I really, there is not much I can't do. There's not much I won't do. I mean, I'm not really doing work, and I mean, I'll work in the field from time to time doing stuff, but it's not my forte. If something has to be done, I have a customer, it's got an emergency or something like that, something I can run out and do by myself. Um, I'll go out and do it. But definitely the sales and marketing is what's always, even when I started in business, is what's always been my biggest interest. It's been my biggest passion. I mean, without a doubt, is trying to find out like faster ways to do things.
Totally, totally. 23 years, man, that's no joke. 2001 to today. That is no joke. What has changed the
Not
most?
to just a caveat, not 23 yet. It'll be April 10th. It'll be 23.
We're just about
I
there.
don't I don't want to put any false information out there.
Sure, yeah, yeah. I like your chances of making it.
Just put an asterisk in there, and we'll put,
I like your
20,
chances. You'll get there.
22, and
You'll
9,
get there.
10.
All right, just about 20, just about 23. Now I want to ask you something because the actual company serves a wide area. Like you're in multiple
Yes.
states. This is not a small operation. But I also perceive, and this is why I wanted to get you on the show. I have specific questions that I want to ask you about this. I
Okay.
perceive that even though it's serving a wide area statewide, a lot of the content you put out is pointed at the tendencies of contractors to just scoop up as much work as humanly possible and not focus their efforts into where it needs to be. Whereas you seem to have really mastered that. So I'm curious about this blend. How do you balance being in so many different states and serving a wide area, but also you're not the guy, you're not the cheap guy, you're not the guy that gets the most amount of work. In fact, you promote a lot the idea of like, hey, we will have fire clients, we will not work with the crappy ones. How does it all work? Because what you have is the I think it's what a lot of smaller companies are striving to do.
So, well, you have to remember too, is we're so where we work, it's such it sounds like it's a big area because it's multi-states, but it's really not, because we're densely populated. So if you were to take the main areas of work, is New Jersey, southeastern Pennsylvania, Delaware, and northern Maryland, and you were to draw a circle around that, I could probably get from the top of the market down to the bottom in 2 hours, 2.5 hours. It's not a crazy. So we have a location where I'm calling you from right now, where I'm talking to you right now, which is Central Jersey in Farmingdale. It's right in Monmouth County. It's about 15 minutes away from where I live. Then we have a location in Swedesboro, which is X2 off the turnpike. So if you took both those locations and you put a radius around them, we work about an hour within that radius. And then the hour, it does somewhat overlap between where we are here in the center of New Jersey. Just kind of depends on the type of project it is. So it's not a huge, it's not, I want to say it's a huge area, but it's large enough. I mean, it's a huge market. There is probably, I mean, especially central and northern New Jersey, I don't know where else there's a better market to work, to be honest, with the amount of work there is and the margins and the types of customers that are out there. So my philosophy, now I don't want to say always, because there was one year I went another direction and lost money. My philosophy's always been to just take quality over quantity, whether it's dealing with clients, dealing the type of work. Now, I know guys, and I try to help them. Like I had to just kind of disband off all these Facebook posts, these Facebook groups, because a lot of these guys just don't listen no matter what you tell them. They always have the answer. So, and I understand I come across abrasive at times, but it's just the fact that I can already see the trajectory of where they're going and the mistakes they can make. I've got the ability to literally in this business see around corners. So when I hear these guys, like I had a guy come a couple of years ago and he bought two striping machines off of us, old used striping machines. And I was I was talking to him outside. So my one guy that was running everything for me, he handled all the sale and everything. So he got the certified check, make sure the money was there. And I was talking to the guy on the phone. So I said, I said, have you been in the striping business for a while? He goes, no, I work for a striping company right now. So, okay, what do you do there? He goes, I'm a foreman. Okay. How much are you making a year? About $80,000. Okay. They pay you in the winter? Yeah. Okay. Do you have any customers? I mean, aside from attempting to probably take your employer's customers, which probably are not going to work out too well, because if he's anything like me, he's going to take those jobs back at cost to bleed you to death. So I'm assuming you have other customers that you're going to get work from instead of pissing off your boss. And he goes, yeah. He goes, he's like, he's like, I got 60 McDonald's to restripe. I said, okay. Have you ever striped a McDonald's before? No, we typically do a lot of new construction and we do a lot of shopping center restripes. Said, yeah. Do you want to know why your boss doesn't do McDonald's? Can I speak frankly on the show?
You can speak as candidly as you want to, brother.
Okay. If I had my beeper here, I'd have my beeper. I said, your boss doesn't work those jobs because they effing suck. That's why. And he just stood there and he stared at me and he goes, well, I'm going to get $700 a store. I said, okay, you need special stencils for them. Like you got to get like, do you have the stencils? He goes, well, I'll just make them, everything like that. I said, okay, you understand most McDonald's, if they're not open 24 hours a day, which is a nightmare to deal with in itself, you've got about a 3-hour window to get them striped. That's between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. before they open back up. And that's before they dump all the water out the back from cleaning the floors and it's all over the stripe and everything else like that. Like I said, I'm not saying, listen, I said, if you want this check back, I will hand you this check back right now. You don't want these machines, we will take them back right now. I'll hand you this check back right now. You're under no obligation to buy it from me. But if that's what you're going to leave an $80,000 job for, you better think really, really tight about it, because don't take that number and put in there. And I said, even at that number, I don't think you're going to make much money. So when I see these guys, or used to see them, come on these Facebook pages and ask these crazy questions, and then like,
Yeah.
I'm like, so what are you doing? Like, seriously. I mean, you're whoring the industry. This is why 90% of these guys don't get anywhere in life. I mean, they're just going about it all wrong. So I took 1 year out of, 23 years, 1 year I decided to do stuff in volume. So I decided I was going to take everything. And I had
What year was this? What year was this?
this was 2008. This
Okay.
was in 2008. So right before everything took a crap. So we were taking on work like crazy. I was taking work at less margins, trying to do it in volume. I went out, I bought two brand new seal coating trucks so we could do more seal coating work, add another bulk tank. I had like 25 guys working, hired another estimator. I mean, everything you could do to add to the overhead. And then I'll never forget, I'm coming back from vacation in June of 2008. I'm coming back from vacation. We were up in we go on a huge vacation to New Hampshire every summer to a lake that our family owns a house at up there. And I'm coming back and I get a phone call from American Express. And at the time, we had I think it was $130,000 limit on our American Express card. They called me back on the phone and they said, we are cutting your credit limit from 125,000, whatever it was, down to 30 grand.
Mm.
Like, for what? They said, well, right now, somebody in a cubicle somewhere, some bean counter has pulled a report, and we found that the defaults on our cards are happening now keep in mind, this is right before the crash of 2008. Before they found out that the defaults are happening on credit card holders that are in service businesses, contractors, and based in the Northeast. So based on that information, so I said, so we've been a customer for, 10 years, whatever it is, like we've never paid our bill late. Like, why are you penalizing me because all this? So you got to remember that card is keeping us alive. So we had at the time, we had the Plum card, which I don't know if you can even get anymore. They only offered it to like 5,000 people. So we had this Plum card. You're getting 2% back if you pay your bill in 10 days. We're paying our bill every 10 days and getting money back. So we that year, we had a ton of work. I mean, we had customers that were paying their bills in 30 days. They were now paying in 60. Customers that were paying in 60 were paying in 90. Ones that were paying in 90, you're having to send legal letters to because it's like 120 days later. It was just literally a culmination of everything coming together. And I can remember my dad's retired. My dad worked on Wall Street, but my brother was a broker at the time. I can remember him calling me the first week of September, and he said to me, he goes, "How much money do you have in the bank right now?" It was like 350 grand. I said, "I got about 350 grand in the bank right now." He goes, "Get that money out and move." He goes, "How many accounts do you have?" I said, "Just one account." So we got a payroll account and a general operating account. So he goes, "You got to get that money and put it into each account cannot have more than 100 grand in it." I said, "Why?" He goes, "Because the banks are going to fail in the next 7 days." I said, "Thomas, what do you?" He goes, "I'm telling you right now, this is not on the street yet." He goes, "But you will start to hear about this in the next couple of days. There's going to be a run on banks." He goes, "You are only FDIC insured." So remember, before that, it was only 100 grand. So I had to go to the bank, open up different banking accounts, and he wasn't lying, man. Literally 7 days later, I mean,
Wow.
there was like major issues, and I remember having to now it's I think it's 250 is the FDIC, but I remember having to like split money up. It was just everything. So it was the culmination of all the accounts we worked for, which were huge accounts. They're all getting kind of getting hurt from their sales and everything, paying us late. I took on all this overhead. And just tried to go after work and volume. And we wound up losing money that year. First time we had ever lost money before. So that was it. I was like, that was the end of it. Took one try at it and then kept all the equipment because I paid for all the equipment. It wasn't finance. I bought it. So I owned it. So there's no sense in getting rid of it. But I just kept all the equipment and just got rid of guys and just moved down to like a 12-man crew after that. And everything was fine after that. I've seen it the other. So when I see these guys, all over taking this, I'm just like, oh, Jesus Christ. They got no clue what they're doing. Like they just they're heading for, and I kind of get the feeling like, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I mean, if you want my opinion, this entire economy's propped up on fraud right now. It's the only way to explain. I could go on to this for hours talking about the real estate market, about the banking atmosphere, everything that's going on. This entire economy right now, they're propping up to make sure it does not fall apart while Biden is still in office. The second Biden is no longer in office, which I believe Trump will be in there next, this entire economy is going to go off the side of a cliff.
So
So
if you have a small payment business right now, like, see, I'm in the wrong country, but I
yeah,
also know you're
you
very
definitely are
informed.
because you use the metric system up there. You are definitely in the wrong country, bro.
I'm shocked it took you this long to say metric. I thought it was going to
Yeah.
be in the first 5 minutes. Um, okay, so I trust you. I follow your stuff. What would you do if you're a small company under 1 million?
I would just keep your like go through your overhead. Again, I just did this myself. Go through your overhead and try to see where everything is. See if you're wasting money. Find out where you're. Just keep in mind that you could have a situation like our we just had in January of this year. America Express just called us up. They want to do an account review. Now, again, all our stuff it went right. It went back up like in 2000. I think 13, everything just it went back to where it was normal after the economy. But we got a call from them in January. They're like, listen, because sometimes our American Express some months it's 500-600 grand a month. So they're like, we want to just do a review of your account. And I heard that. I'm like, oh my God, my fucking blood pressure's going through the roof because I'm like, is this going to be like 2008 2.0? So
Yeah.
if you're a smaller company, just keep an eye on every dollar you're spending. Don't go out there and hire. I don't care what they're saying. Oh, the economy's great. Don't listen to it. Employment. All these numbers are fraud right now. Okay. There's so much that people don't see that's going on right now on the back end of things. Don't take what I tell people all the time. When the government is telling you not to worry and spend money, start worrying. I don't know about Trudeau, but in the United States of America, when the government is telling you there's nothing to worry about and keep spending money, that is when you should get nervous. So
Mhm.
don't keep watching this news thinking that this gravy train is going to go on forever. Just keep an eye on everything you have. Keep an eye on your I turned down a job today. They want net 60 payment terms. Don't offer it. We're not
Oh,
offering it.
I was
That's
just
going to
gonna
be
I was
yep.
just gonna ask you about this. Yeah, so if you're a small company, that's a huge thing. So I'm in a circle where a lot of guys start out residential and then they transition to commercial, or you start striping, which is commercial, and as soon as you hit the you put your foot to the floor as far as growth goes and you get into longer payment terms, that's when cash flow pinches you, which is a huge problem for so many companies. And it was and still many days is a problem in my company too. Like you got to be really careful. What is like you're strict on your payment terms, man. How
Well,
much work does that exclude you from getting?
not really a lot because the way we're actually kind of lax. We've been very lax. It's something I tighten up because last year and the year before, we've never had as much trouble in those 2 years collecting money, like nothing. You gotta remember, we don't take deposits. So we don't take deposits. Um, I'm starting to talk to other contractors around the country that are taking deposits now. We're now putting in the proposal. There's a deposit required. We'll assess the client, we'll assess the relationship with the client, if it's worth taking the deposit or just passing on the work. But um, it's a situation where, let's just say, like Toys R Us is a perfect example. Um, in 2009, when they declared bankruptcy, we were in the middle of about $500,000 worth of work from them.
Hmm.
And we're getting ready and not getting ready. Like we are knee deep in it. We are milling and paving the parking lot. And I cut it. There was 2008, in 2009 is where the asphalt prices really started to spike. So I cut a deal with the asphalt plant to buy the asphalt 2 weeks before we started the job, and then they were going to give us a discount. I was getting a $5 a ton discount. So I said, "Listen, I'm not paving for 2 weeks. I'm going to buy the material now up front, but I want a $5 a ton discount because it was low bid work we had to do." So they said, "Okay, no problem." So I go to the bank, I get the certified check, and then the bank calls in the phone. They're like, that whatever, like 225 grand you issue. What job is that going to?" I said it's going to Toys R Us, and they're like, "Do you realize they're reorganizing right now?" So they're like, "You need to get." I didn't have to sign a personal guarantee before then. Like, you need to come in now and sign a personal guarantee on that money you just took out. So they said to sign a personal guarantee on it. Toys R Us isn't signing a personal guarantee with me. So if they don't pay the bill, I'm stuck, and I just had to sign one with the bank after I've drawn the money out of it already. So, you got to be careful who you're working for, because that's one thing to keep in mind. If you're setting up accounts at asphalt plants, a lot of them require a personal guarantee to make sure. So if you have any type of assets, and you're not judgment proof, you got to be careful. If you're judgment proof, it doesn't matter. You got stuff in LLCs, you know how to protect it, which I learned after 2008. I learned how to do that. If you don't have that situation, you're not judgment proof, then you're in serious trouble at that point, signing things like that because your customers aren't signing them. So what I would tell you is I just assess the account now and just kind of go in there because we said in 2021, in 2022, and I'm sorry, 2022 and 2023, we had a ton of issues collecting money, and it just got to the point where it was just ridiculous. Like you're calling and you're getting the runaround, you're getting the runaround, you're getting the runaround. And we pay all of our subs, we pay our suppliers, we pay everybody on Friday, plus our own payroll. So every Friday, so if I've got a sub working for me, it's trucking asphalt or milling for me, and he's milling on Monday, he's got a check on Friday. So if I've got to go and, go to wait to get materials, it's like that's money. It's coming off a credit line I'm paying interest on to cover it till the customer pays. So it's something we're definitely going to tighten up. So if you're a smaller company, be very careful who you're working for, and just keep an eye on everything. Keep an eye on your overhead. It's all these stupid charges. Like I went through my America Express, all my stuff in February, like all the auto debits, and it's like there's like $2,000-3,000 in crap on there that I either don't even use anymore, I don't know about, but it just keeps getting charged to the card every single month. You sign up for something, you forget
Mhm.
about it. So go through and audit everything. That's the best advice I could give you.
That's solid. Yeah, man. Really good. Now, I don't want to add a level of tinfoil to the hat, but why in
Good.
the last 2, 3 years? What has changed? Because you've been doing this for 23 years. What has changed in the last 2, 3 years where customers are
I
seeing
don't know. I don't know if it's
it?
because I don't know if it's just because the way the people are with the economy. I mean, like we had we had we had one bless you. We had one job last year we had to put a lien on. With another job we had to threaten and put a lien on, had to send them a copy of the lien to get it. Um, I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's just because all the construction going on. I don't know if these guys they're buying properties. The biggest issue I have with is owners of properties that are coming in and buying them. So they're coming in to improve them. They're buying them. I don't know if they're waiting on construction loans and they're not getting them, or if they're trying to float the money off of something else. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it seems to be a major issue. I mean, we had one job last year. We almost stopped paying. It was a $500,000 job. Check was supposed to be to us. We gave them up until 24 hours before we started the job. Check never showed up at the office. It's listen, I'm going to pull the plug on this job if we don't. This check's not here. Go, oh, no, no, we got it. It's coming out. It's coming out. If I didn't call, it would not have shown up.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you think I'm asking you like your opinion on this? Do you think that the tendency of smaller companies to say yes to jobs regardless of payment terms contributes to that? I guess what my real question is the mentality of customers changing because they see more and more desperate contractors? Like, I'm just going to ramble here for a second. It's never been easier to start a seal coating or striping business. Like, it's
Yeah, of
it's easy
course.
now. You can get equipment like tomorrow, and it's generally a low startup cost. You take out a loan, get a machine, get going. So because of that, you're going to get more people who are less for lack of a better term, business savvy. So they're gonna want to take those 40 McDonald's because they see revenue and revenue. Is that contributing to it too?
I think it does, but the biggest issue you have with a lot of those guys, they don't have credit. They've got no capital. They don't have anything behind them. So if they get like mostly, I mean, I see jobs where these guys they need a deposit on a $10,000 seal coating job. They can't literally can't get the materials. They don't have the money. They've written numerous bad checks. They can't write checks to the supplier. They can't even float a check for 30, for a day or two to get the money in the bank. Like it's cash or credit card, or they don't fill you up. So that's what I see with a lot of ours. I do see a lot of younger contractors that are hungry. They're just getting started, and they'll take on those high risk jobs that guys like me would never even touch with a 10-foot pole because they think it's revenue. They think they're going to get it. Then they get done with the jobs. The jobs are all finished, and then they made no
Yeah.
money on it. So, and
Yeah.
they don't realize till it's too late.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, we only got a few minutes left, and there's two things I really wanted to ask you about, and they're, total topic change, but I even tried to find that the specific content you've made about this before. I couldn't find it. I just spent a few minutes trying to find it, but you've talked before about the striping specifically. That's how you got started.
Yeah.
That's what this show is supposed to be about, even though we don't talk as nearly much about striping as we used to. Is all of your striping work done during the day with your crews? And if the answer is yes, how is that possible?
Well, it comes down to the verticals. I mean, we don't do fast food. We don't do any type of quick service restaurants. Any of the shopping centers we do, we just explain to them like this is how we do it. We don't work at night. There's like one, and I'm not gonna say never. Um, there we may 2 or 3 times a year we may have to do a night job, or we start at 3 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning. But these companies that run like 7 to 7 shifts, like that shit done, never going down that
Why?
road.
Why?
That was another thing I dealt with in 2008. Said I had two striping crews on the road running 24 hours a day. My phone would be ringing at night nonstop. Like they're in the middle of the parking lot striping, the lights turn off, the sprinklers turn on. Even though you could send the customer like, listen, please make sure, energy management leaves the lights on, make sure the sprinklers turned off, blah, blah. Just not my thing.
Yeah.
It's not, and I listen, I understand it's part of the striping business. I don't knock it. I'm not saying if you do it, you're doing it wrong. It's just not what I go after. I don't go after that type of work. It's not what I'm into. I know if you're going to do mainly a lot of restripes, things like that, that they have to be done at night, we're just very upfront. If somebody calls, and we don't do a lot of restripes, it's very minimal. We really stripe the work that we do, whether it's paving or seal coating. But the customer calls, we are just very upfront and tell them, listen, we do not do night work. So if that's what you're looking for, you need to find a striping company that runs with a night out crew. That's just not what we do. So it's slower doing it during the day, obviously, because you got to do it in sections, your traffic control, you've got a lot more traffic control involved, especially with people walking around, cars driving. But we striped, we used to stripe like 120 of these stores that were called Wawas. Guys don't have them out there. They don't even have them on the West Coast, but it's a huge convenience store. So take like a 7-Eleven on steroids. So gas, usually 20 gas pumps, 20 gas islands. Huge convenience store. Average parking lot was about 90,000 square feet of asphalt. Um, Striping it was typically like a three. We did on average, I think they were about $3,500 to stripe them. We stripe them during the day. You cannot find in the state of New Jersey, I don't care where you go, you cannot find a busier C store than a Wawa. We were able to stripe them during the day, did not do them at night. Now, a lot of the other vendors did them at night. We did not. But the funny part was we used to have their what they call summer strategy stores. So any of the stores that are along the Jersey Shore or any major highways that go to the Jersey Shore, what they call summer strategy stores. So from Memorial Day to Labor Day, they're extremely busy. You would have to have all of them striped before Memorial Day. We used to start striping around the last week of March. We would have not only the summer strategy stores, all 120 stores striped within 30 days. We were well ahead of that. Like they would call us and say, "Oh, we need you to go into this other zone and help these guys. They're behind." And we'd have to go help stripe other stores in other zones we're not working in because it's July and these guys not only like not done the summer strategy. So like when you get that list, okay, the summer strategy stores, that's like the non-negotiable. Okay, got to be done before Memorial Day, not the day after, preferably not the day before Memorial Day weekend. And we'd have to go in there and stripe these stores. I'm like, how are the ones on the shore not still done? We could go in the summer in stores that were on the shore, busy stores, still stripe them during the day to clean up after these other vendors that weren't picking up and still get them done. So that was it. Like that was it. But I understand a lot of companies, if you're working for Lowe's or Home Depot or Best Buy, that's it. That's their stipulation. It's got to be nice. Great. We appreciate it. You don't fit into that vertical I'm looking to go after. That's not what I'm looking for. So
I get it. I get it. Yeah. So when when my company started growing quite quickly in 2021, and I got off the machine and we started hiring brand new people because there's not a huge market of striping experienced people here. We saw that struggle, man. Like I don't want to get a phone call at 2 in the morning.
yeah.
So if you're putting new people out in the field to go stripe stuff at night and they got problems, yeah, I understand. I understand
Yeah.
completely. So we do a lot of striping and always wanted to know why daytime only. Huh.
It's just a personal preference. Again, if you stripe at night or anybody listening to this, I'm not saying it's
Yep.
the wrong way to do it. I'm just
Yep.
telling you, that's not me. That's just not what I go after. So
100%.
some guys like blondes, some like brunettes. I like blondes. Doesn't mean all my friends like brunettes. There's anything wrong with them, or it's just not my thing, man. I just don't go. I just don't chase at work. When somebody calls for a restripe, we tell them right away before you even send it over. We're gonna be probably twice as expensive as every other guy. Okay, we don't do night work. So if they're the two deal breakers, which I pray most of the time they are, they say thank you, and I get rid of them. I don't entertain at any point further than that. So
Totally. Yeah. All right. I got one more thing. I mean,
yeah.
there's a lot more I could ask you about snow removal and all sorts of things, but I'm not gonna ask you about and I might be torturing you because we don't have a ton of time, but I want to ask you about AI and automation specifically from an estimating standpoint. This is a huge thing you're creating and pushing, and just tell me more about it. Like, where do you see automated processes, artificial intelligence playing a role into the estimating processes for pavement companies?
Well, it's going to be something that's here to stay. It's not going away. It with our business, as you can see, it's there is going to be no matter what you do, you're going to always require some type of eyes on the job site. So the way I explain it, the way our software, the way everything works that we have is when they come in, they answer a series of questions. Okay, so there's an automated generator that can measure the square footage, and then they're given pictures of cracks, three different options. So do the cracks look like this, or this? If they look like option number one, then we have a factor in there per square foot that covers the pricing on that. If there's an option two, there's also a factor, but there's a notification that lets them know that it's subject to inspection. If it's option three, we tell them it's beyond seal coating. Somebody from our office will contact you. You're never going to get to a point where AI is going to be able to come in there and measure cracks. I don't know anyone that's figured it out yet on how to do it. We're experimenting with trying to do it with drones right now, how to segment out the using machine learning to segment out the areas that are damaged and figuring out what has to be done to them. But as for speeding up the estimate, you have somebody, let's just say they have a brand new parking lot or a parking lot that's in fair to good condition. This system to help them get the estimate right away will help, because the biggest complaint is when they call companies is it takes forever to get the estimate back, or it takes forever for somebody to come out there and look at it. If it's not for everything, but if you fit into box number one or box number two, we can provide you that quote on the spot. If you're in box number three, we're telling you it's not getting done. Now we have something that I just finished yesterday, which is a program that we're going to use where if it fits into box number three, it's going to give them an option still to seal coat, but they understand it's going to be strictly from a cosmetic standpoint, because there are some people that are going to say, listen, I'm selling the building, or I'm doing something different with it. So I still want to say, I understand it's beyond seal coating. I appreciate it. You're the only contractor that's told me that, but I appreciate you being honest with me and letting me know. But this is what we call our system. It's called Pavement Saver Lite. So they'll be able to go to Pavement Saver Lite, and what that will do is allow them to click on option to then say, okay, because again, those parking lots are in that condition. We also need to know, is there grass growing out of it? Is there tons of area dirt in the corners? Like, are my guys going to have extra prep? Do we have to send a prep crew there before they can even seal coat? There's a lot of different things. So it's just more or less getting them into the funnel, okay? And then moving them through, making sure they're the right fit, and then providing the proposal to them. It just eliminates the entire process that's been used for the last 40 years, which is archaic and obviously doesn't work. I mean, if you go, what are people's biggest complaints? Contractors don't respond. And even if
Takes
they
too
do
long.
respond, it takes forever to get a quote back from them.
Yep.
We're solving that issue. And I got news for you. It's not going to be a low price. So I don't care. People are like, well, oh my God, aren't you crazy? Aren't you like scared guys are going to see your pricing? Who gives a shit? I've got my pricing all over my website right now. Every single one of my articles talking about pricing
Yeah.
online is the highest rated article in the United States of America when you search these things. I don't care. It's no secret. I'm extremely expensive. You can either lead, follow, or get out of the way. I don't care what you do, but I don't care if you see my pricing. It has no effect on me whatsoever. Maybe when you see it and you see the life I've been able to give my family, maybe you'll say, wow, this guy may have figured out that being the cheapest is not always the best. And you'll figure out how to raise your prices up at that point. So, because I mean, the business has been very good to me. It's been very good to me.
Man. Well, what a way to end it. So if anyone listening wants to learn more about that mentality, just go to LinkedIn, dude.
Yeah.
You post on LinkedIn every day,
Usually 3 or 4 times a day.
multiple times a day. You're a
Yeah.
machine,
Multiple. Yeah.
absolute machine.
And
Yeah,
then
you
I
know
got,
what?
like I said, I can't show you because this isn't my office I work at. But if I showed you this, every day I come up with like 6 pages of like even more stuff. So like the
Yeah.
stuff, just so you know, like the shit I'm posting, it was like ideas I had 90 days ago. I'm just
It's
trying to
like
like
you're like,
catch up. But
bro, you're the
again,
human chat
that's
GPT of
where the
ideas.
visionary and the integrator come in. If I had somebody sitting next to me in my desk and I said, "Hey, listen, here is, 50 ideas I came with on my way to 7-Eleven today." Because people think I'm crazy. Probably I'm pulled over. I've got my strobe lights on so nobody rear ends me in the shoulder. I just get an idea and I'm like putting it into my voice memos, explaining the entire, the format of the blog post and everything. And I get back to the office. I'm like, well, there's already 360 of them there, so I'll just add to the freaking list and maybe I'll get to it at some point in the next 90 days. If I had somebody sitting next to me, I'd be pumping out so much stuff, it would be insane. I'd say, listen, just pick this up and then I'll edit it and put whatever else needs to go into it. But yeah.
If
Yeah,
you
I
had somebody
hustle.
sitting next to you trying to keep up with the idea list that I've seen the
Yeah.
pictures of, they probably lose their hair too, man.
They
Like,
they would be out of there, but because I have an idea a minute that comes into my head. So I would probably you would have to be probably a carbon copy of my wife. She's probably the only person that can deal with me like in real life. You'd have to be a carbon copy, but you would not be able to distract me. So you could not be any type of female I was attracted to that smells good. My head would have to stay in the game
yeah,
because if it's my wife all day long. I would be like when I call, I'm like, are the kids gone? Yeah, I'll be home in 15 minutes. And then, that's what I'd be dealing with all day. So I would have to find somebody that was not attractive that I could work with one on one that would be able to keep me in line, which would be difficult.
man. Oh man. Remind me of the website one more time. I forgot to write it down.
Which one?
Your main website, Fix Asphalt, right?
Oh, fixasphalt.com.
Fixasphalt.com. Okay, go check it out. Go read those articles. I've read the articles. When I started striping, dude, you ain't joking. Those are the first articles that came up. It's crazy. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, go into the learning. So there's a learning. We just redid the website the week before last. It's brand new. So there's a learning center in there. So what I'm trying to do now is because I've got a ton of content for contractors, I'm going to try to figure out a way to kind of split it so I can put content out there for contractors too to help. Like you said, like guys that are starting, they have questions on stuff. I was thinking about even putting like maybe a YouTube channel or something together because the biggest issue I deal with is I'll get somebody, they'll call me, ask me the question. I spend all the time answering it over the phone or helping over email. And then I'll get that same question 10 or 12 times from 10 or 12 different contractors. And I feel bad. So it'd be great, like if I could just put it together, put the knowledge, somebody has a question. So you know what? I've answered that question already. Go check this video out, explains it, and then helps. Because again, as everybody elevates, like they say, the rising tide, it raises all ships. So as other contractors that come in, the biggest threat are the contractors that are coming in that don't know how to do it the right way. They don't know how to job cost. They're taking on these wrong jobs. They've got predatory customers that are looking to them because, like you're saying, they're hungry for work. So if these contractors start to learn how to be better in this industry, how to be better at qualifying contacts that are coming in, it helps everybody, man. It just helps the entire industry because everybody grows at that point. We seem to be the only industry where everybody like guards the secret, like it's some secret that nobody wants to know. Dude, there is no secret in this bit. I tell people all the time, like, what's the secret? There's no secret. There is no. Follow me around for a day, and I will show you. There is no secret to what we do. As much as people think there is no secret to what we do.
Man, well said. Man, appreciate you. Appreciate your time. Thank you for being a titan of the industry. Appreciate it, man. And I don't know. I'm gonna see you at some time event, some event coming up. I have no doubt we'll bump into you, even though I speak a different language than you, speak in metric. Thank you for putting up with me.
No problem, eh?
All right, talk to you soon, buddy.